What's going on? Double checking for feedback. Oh, that sounds good. All right. Packed show today. Let's get it on. Hope you guys are doing good. Welcome to the Nana Kweku Live show. It's a packed show. I got to get through my stuff today. I also think I fixed all the latency issues. So it's going to be a lot of learning today. There's going to be a lot of information today. We're going to take our time. And whenever you find yourself in an argument on TikTok, in real life, or wherever you come across these people, you can point to a video like this, and it is going to answer all those questions, recycled questions that these guys have rehearsed for years and have used against Caribbean people, Hispanics, and Black people from Africa. So this is going to help you. Okay, it's going to help you with these arguments, because what I've noticed is a lot of people go on these TikTok panels and they don't have that information. They don't know what to say. And these messed up xenophobes that they deal with are quick to mute them the moment they get one on them. They mute them and they get right into their typical talking points. This is, and I on the other channel, I call this is the race for the bottom. Okay, this is the race for the bottom. This is the only reason why these people do it. And it's up to you to learn a few things like this so that you know what to say when it comes up. I'm going to start with this video, and we're not going to get through the whole thing. I'm just going to try to get the point from Ant's CEO. I don't know when he filmed this, but obviously Austin Holloman is reacting to it. So I'm going to go pick it from Austin Holloman, and I will break it down. Let's go.
FBAs on numerous occasions in the past. A lot of the African just said, me this tatted FBA. I don't know who this guy is. He did an interaction with a Somalian immigrant that's living in the United States on a phone call. So let's have a look.
An FBA, is that what you guys call
Black
it?
American Foundation of Black American, whichever you want to call it. Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, data.
This guy, this CEO guy, see how he talks? He seems to have like this arrogant thing about him, most of which is also rehearsed. This is all an act. Is these are bottoms, man. These are not people that have done much. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a mug shot somewhere of these guys. I just saw Anton Daniels making a live stream about some of his critics with mug shots. I mean, if you look at the statistics, a lot of them are going to be like this, But I find it odd that the least participants in the American experiment are the ones that feel themselves like they feel like they are all that, right? Like, oh yeah, I just got me a microphone. So yeah, foundational American, whatever you want to call it. I'm about to read you 2025 statistics, and there is nothing impressive here. It's sad. I don't rejoice these things, but I feel like these people don't know really what is going on around them, and maybe they should get off the internet and start really going into the communities and helping out if they can, if they have the skill set to help out. Because it is really, really sad. Some of the things that, in preparing for this live stream, some of the things that I came across was very shocking, considering A lot of this is 2024 and 2025 data. Things haven't gotten better at all.
An FBA, and it's going well at first, but then they start talking about future, family planning in the future, and then they start to realize that African culture, it's simply like our culture are better. Like we simply don't have the degeneracy we see in your culture a lot.
Okay, well, let me.
Okay, so whatever, a lot of immigrants frame this as are better. Well, African culture is a foundation for most cultures, right? So there's usually the word better that they use is it's usually not as degenerate. And even when it is moved into certain what we call negatives, the general reaction to that is, hey, this is not us. We don't want this stuff with, Whereas in most Black culture, a lot of this stuff is embraced and encouraged. I mean, there are women that are seeking out relationships with men in jail. It can only happen in Black America, right? So this is when, I guess, it's a misapplication of the English language. When they say it's better, it's what they're saying. Like you have a potential to act right in most of African cultures. And that is actually true. Okay, that is actually true. You have the potential to act right in most African cultures because of the structure that is around that culture. But when you overwhelmingly say yours is better, I don't think that is entirely true, because there is also nothing as African culture. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of diversity and tribes and clans within the continent of Africa. It's a continent, right? And I'm going to get to why I'm saying this, but let's keep listening some more.
Let me ask you this question.
So after being in 11 countries in Africa and living all around the world, I've been to every continent except our of degeneracy, to the point where these African church girl sure is better than she's Somali. We're not going to seem like Black America. We're not going to make it seem like the name you charge on your if.
I don't want Austin's reaction to this. This is why I'm skipping through it, because just like O'Shea Duke Jackson, they use their very limited African exposure to try to dissect or explain what they think is African culture, but that's not true. They also are not around what I call the African elites, or the class of African families that are of a different status. These Austins, they deal with prostitutes. So I don't want his reaction to what a Somali woman smoking shisha is doing, That's not the general consensus. This is why I'm skipping through his reaction. I just want to get to this video because I didn't want to go through CEO's YouTube channel and get that bullshit fed to my algorithm. This is why I went through Austin Holloman's.
Do the same shit, because I know what FBA stands for. I know what it's supposed to stand for, at least. But you have a bunch of idiots that have tarnished the viewpoint I have of it in my brain, where I'm apparently FBA, and I don't even want to be called that because there's so many idiots under that label. Let's continue.
So let me ask you this question. If your culture is so flawed, then why are you not in Somalia right now?
This is the first dumb point, okay? Are you in America because of culture, or are you here for a specific task or a specific classification or reason? We're not staying in a place based off culture. I can be a diplomat in Japan. It doesn't mean that I think working in Japan would mean that my culture is not fly. Or coming to America would mean that I'm here to learn American culture. You have to, of course, assimilate to an extent, but nobody's saying, with the American experiment, a lot of these people, like Nigerians, Ghanaians, when they've moved to the US, they've built their communities in America. They're teaching their kids Yoruba. They're eating their foods. They're doing exactly the same cultural things they used to do while when they leave their homes, assimilating with the broader American culture. Doesn't mean that they are leaving their culture. But these dumb Tariqs don't understand that. Like they make this argument that you left your country, even though you've not left for good. A lot of us go back as often as like flying to Detroit. Okay, we go back 3-4 times a year. Most of us work and we go home for holidays or vacation, however you have it scheduled and planned out. So it's not like you've uprooted. Every immigrant is going to be different, right? But these guys confuse refugees with a different class of immigrants that are in the US. People are here for different things, right? So for example, if I'm here under the immigrant class of people of extraordinary ability, which I'm going to show it to you here in a bit, then I'm here to perform a specific task that the US company needs from me based on what I built over the years, and I get rewarded for giving them that expertise. It doesn't mean that I left my culture. I'm here to do a job that is assigned to me because I have extraordinary ability, because I've trained at an exceptional level in that field. If these companies can find local people of that same ability, they may not extend that specific visa to me. So you have people that are here for different classes. Some people are also here because their families are here. The same FBAs, these Austins, they go overseas, they marry women, and they have to bring their women back to the US, right? That's another category. So it's not like your culture is fly, so why are you here? That's a dumb question. But he doesn't even know it's a dumb question because this is the script that has been given to them. This is a drawing board. This is a script that has been given to them. It's not true, and it's not a great question, but in his head, it's like, yeah, I just asked an intelligent question. No, it's not. It's a dumb question. He's not here because of culture. He's here to fulfill a specific task. It could be employment. It could be education. It could be a family reunion visa. Heck, it could be a refugee status because things went south there in Somalia, which in the Somali case, it's a lot of people. But these people are chief entertainers, right? Look at the title. Somali woman attacks foundational Black Americans and gets destroyed live. And then it gets shared around. They make some money off ad revenue. They go to sleep, smoke their weed, and then turn on the cameras again and repeat the cycle. That's all it is.
Who's we? Who's we? Because the Hutus and the Tutsis are fighting in your homeland right now.
Also,
there you go. This is why I say they're dumb. He says, the Hoot salute to you, bro. How come I don't see your chats? Let me go back. So you have a bunch of very uneducated people with YouTube channels, and they will make, okay, so I see you now. There you go. I see your chats now. Good job. So you have a lot of uneducated people with these platforms. The people that listen to them are also dummies that don't learn anything. I mean, these people don't even know about their own history, let alone go and learn about other people's recent history. The Hutus and the Tutsis, it's a very recent history. This happened in 1994. A lot of these guys, maybe I would assume they were very young, but that, it's just not too long ago. This was very, very recent. If you're going to speak on it, right, at least do some learning. Do some learning. You're still hearing the let's go? Okay, yeah, because I think I fixed that. Good job, man. Yeah, so if you're going to be somebody that has a platform, I think this guy's a YouTuber, and you're going to speak about this very complex race, ethnicity type debates, which a lot of these guys are confused anyway. If this is what you're going to speak on, at least read about it. Because in my mind, I'm reacting to a very dumb individual. It's not like you haven't even read about it. This is a very dumb individual because he's making these arguments, recording it, sharing it, thinking that he said something, because to the American public that is listening, oh, he said Hutu, so he knows something. No, he doesn't. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. The Hutus and the Tutsis are not fighting right now. He says the Hutus and the Tutsis are fighting in your homeland right now. That is Rwanda. That lady is from Somalia. Those two countries are so far apart. It's like Mexico and Uruguay. It might be a 3-4 hour flight between these two countries. But to this dumb ninja's mind, which is why I said, these blacks are so uneducated, it's very sad to watch. It's really, really very sad, considering the amount of resources that white America has put into this country, that you can access anything, because the immigrants are the black immigrants, and they are an example of proving the fact that these resources are available for the people that want to work hard. It's right there in your face. This is what has brought about this whole fight, is the fact that we came here and with no excuses and no complaints, some of our people don't even speak English. That they are able to learn English. Some of these guys learn English as a second language and still go on and succeed and become doctors and lawyers in this country. And you have this guy with 30,000 people watching him. He's got a 30,000 following, making these videos on YouTube where people think that he's an expert on something because he used the word Hutus and Tutsis, because the majority of people in his population don't even know what that is. First of all, he got the geographical location wrong. Secondly, the information is not factual. These two people are not fighting, and I will prove it to you. But I want to hear Austin's response to this, because Austin Holloman has been to Rwanda. Okay, this is why I said the last time, I said some of these people, travel will fix their problems. Not all, because Tariq travels and is still an idiot. But for some of these people, and O'Shea lives in Africa and is even the worst, right? Some of them are dumb from inception and it will never change. But the people that are very open-minded and are really serious about learning, sometimes travel can help you. Travel will fix it. And Austin right here, you guys know I've bashed Austin Holloman a lot, but I'll give him his flowers here, because he's about to school this ignorant ninja that what he's talking about is not true.
I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're going to debate these Africans about stuff, we cannot name incorrect tribes. I mean, the Hutu.
Exactly. You see, shout out to him. And I'm sure somebody's going to say this to us, and they're like, oh, Nana said this about you. No. See, when you are right, I will give you your flowers. And in this case, I mean, there's part of the videos where even Austin also gets it wrong. But for the part that I'm interested in for this video, I want to give him his flowers, because this is actually true. He cautioned them, because if you're going to debate these Africans, these are basics that you have to know. And if you don't know it, then don't even set it up. Okay, don't set it up.
Hutus and the Tutsis, that conflict was in the 90s with the genocide, and that was in Rwanda, which is like a 4 or 5 hour plane ride away from Mogadishu.
Exactly. Austin knows the cities, because Mogadishu is the city. This idiot that started it doesn't even know the cities. Austin distinguishes between the countries because it's Africa, it's a continent. And he knows, to his advantage from travel. And I think Austin is much younger than this guy. You see how you can be old and an idiot? That's the difference. And Austin knows that it's actually a 3 to 4 hour flight between the two cities. And he knows that the conflict was in the 90s. You think this man that said Hutus and Tutsis even has an idea when this conflict was? He said they are fighting right now. He's just looking for some blah, 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 so that it feels good to his people that are really uneducated. See, these guys know that their population is shit. They know that their population is shit. This is why they can do these things on the internet, because nobody in their group fact checks anything. The American ninja does not fact check anything because he doesn't have the educational resources to understand the geography of the world. He barely understands the geography of the ghetto, let alone the geography of the world. This is why the followers of Tariq Nasheed are really not subhuman, like chimbrain, like chimbrain. I don't think their IQ levels will meet the minimum threshold. Let me be nice here. I don't think they're, for the most part, I don't think their IQ levels will meet the minimum threshold. Except for the guys like the Phil Scotts that are just using this to make money and understand that what they're spewing is a lie, but they can get the dumb people to watch and make money off of them. That's the only difference.
Or at least 3.5 hours. So it's completely different people. Somalians and Rwandans are completely different. I mean, they're both black, but they're completely different.
There's tribalism going on in your homeland right now where people are walking around with AK-47s and are walking around, men walking around in dresses, unaliving the people in your own homeland. So if your culture is so popping, hold on. If your culture is so popping, why is the education system so bad in Somalia? Why is the healthcare system so bad in Somalia? You're not letting me finish. You got to be quiet. If your culture is so popping, why is the education system so bad in your culture? Why do y'all barely have any type of healthcare system over there? Why is all of the infrastructure in your own homeland destroyed? Mogadishu is a terrible city. It's terrible. Why is that?
Okay, so at least he knows Mogadishu. And he knows that there's conflict, okay? I don't know deeper into the origins of the Somali conflict because it's gone different dimensions. A lot of it has been foreign interventions, which is, I'm not trying to make the excuse that Black Americans make with racism and colonialism. No, we're not saying that. This is very recent, even as far back as the 90s. There's until this very day, I think as of January or February, there had been over 100 strikes, U.S. strikes in Somalia. Okay, so there's still American intervention and foreign intervention in these conflict zones. The Sudanese conflict, the same. But you got 54 plus countries on the continent. They are not all going to get it right. Okay, some of them are not going to get it right. But in my case, if a majority are getting it right, that's good enough. But this guy is talking about the education system. And I'll get to the education system. At least these Africans have a country. They call the shots. They have a government. They have an organization behind themselves. And they are navigating their own growth and their own development. They are building their own roads, their own schools, their own infrastructure. So have there been some systemic failures in their education and in their healthcare system? Absolutely. But that is not to say that the systems are better in Black America. No, the systems are better in America because of the white man. Now, sub the systems, the different neighborhoods have handled those infrastructure differently, from local politics to the inhabitants. Okay? And if we look at it at the local level and at the individual or group level, even though the systems are good, this particular group is still the least educated in America. So it's not like you're doing so great. This is what I've been trying to get them to understand. It's not like you're doing too great. I was, before I started this, I was looking at a stat. I don't think anybody has brought this up. So I'm going to be one of the first people on the internet to say this. And I don't say this to shame Black America, but I say this to remind them that they also have plenty of work to do. Okay? I was looking at some data sets on the U.S. construction industry. Okay? I was looking at some data set on the, let me get to full screen so that I can see it. I was looking at some data sets on the construction industry in America. Okay. The U.S. construction industry is primarily composed of non-white Hispanic workers. Approximately 60%, 6 out of 10 construction workers, and this is any construction from roads to houses, are white people. 60% of the US construction industry. 60%. This number was actually higher in the 80s. It's dropped now, and I'll tell you why it's dropped. Okay? The other, so 57 to 60% is non-Hispanic white people are the people that are building stuff with their hands in America today. This is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So this is a U.S. government collected data. I'm reading it right now. 32% are Hispanics. 60 whites, 32 Hispanics. Do you know the black participation rate in the construction industry? The whole construction industry. The sector that builds stuff in America. The sector that does your roads. The sector that puts the houses that you live in up. The sector that builds your industries, your airplanes, your helicopters, everything you need to function in America. Those sectors, that particular sector, one of the most important sectors in America. At the high end, there's only 6% black participation. And this is all black, including immigrant blacks. 6% of black people participate in the U.S. construction industry. The entire construction industry, 6%. And 2% Asian and others. But we know why the Asians are not there. The Asians are not there because they're more interested in another type of infrastructure, which is information technology, science, technology, engineering, and math, where they dominate at an 80% clip. So they're just not interested in it. Okay? Only 6% of black people that we built America. 6% of we was participates in the construction industry. That's disgusting. I'm not even using words like appalling. That's disgusting. Okay? That is absolutely disgusting. And they don't want us to talk about it. They don't want us to talk about it. They're busy sitting on the internet doing bullshit. Now, you heard that, and we're going to go and school this guy in case he gets another guest that comes on and talks about Rwanda. I want to play a little bit of this BBC story to explain, to help us to my point. And this point is should be very, very critical to these debates when they come up.
For as long as I can remember, I've wanted to go back home. Home to the place where I was born. A home I hadn't seen in 30 years. It's also 30 years since the genocide, which killed about 800,000 people. I was one of the lucky ones. My family and I got away, but many didn't. Now, I am returning back to Rwanda to trace back my escape route when I was just 12 years old. And one of my top wishes was to reconnect with my family on this journey to uncover my country's path to healing and reconciliation. I'll be hearing from those who survived and those who killed. Hello there and welcome to Newsday here on the BBC World Service with Rob Young and Victoria Uwong. My name is Victoria Uwong and I am a reporter with the BBC. I was born in Rwanda, but I've lived most of my life in Norway and the UK. Like every Rwandan, our lives turned upside down in April 1994. As a child, it was difficult to comprehend what was happening. almost finished with my packing because I'm flying from London to Kigali, where I was born. I'm excited, but I'm also anxious because those memories are now playing in my mind and they have left emotional scars and they've caused me PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, which is constantly with me. But, I'm also hoping that this... It felt great to be home, but this also reminded me of my country's troubled past. It was here that the plane that had been carrying the then president of Rwanda, Juvenal Habyarimana, crashed. A moment in time said to have been the ignition of the 1994 genocide. I vividly remember that day. We had been sitting down at the dinner table the night before we were meant to return to school after Easter holidays. From the second it was known that the plane had been shot down, a cacophony of gunfire and bombs started. But this wasn't as sudden as many would think. The seed of divisions had been sown decades before. Here's a bit of context about Rwanda's history. There are 3 ethnic groups: the Hutus, the Tutsis, and the Twas. For hundreds of years, they all lived in harmony. But it all changed when the...
That's what I'm going to say here. For hundreds of years, they all lived together peacefully. They lived together, right? Before Belgium, before they did some stuff. But whenever I use the historical parts of this debate, I don't want it to equate to what blacks in America will say, oh, we have this injustices, blah, 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 which I don't believe right now in modern times. I don't like to bring that in, but that was the cause, right? That was the cause. We're going to get to a part of the video where I explain to you the main reason why I bring this up and what I think these guys can learn from us, okay?
The country became a Belgian colony in 1924, and the country was ruled through the Tutsi monarchy. The balance was broken and was further intensified by the introduction.
So when the Belgians came in, they did it through a Tutsi monarchy, which is like a king, like how they have it in England, right? You have a king and they died, and so only one tribe had political power. And what do you think that does to the other tribes? It created some conflict between the other tribes. So political instability happens even here in America. The Democrats and the Republicans argue and fight all the time. And sometimes it gets violent, like Charlie Kirk. But nobody talks about it when it happens here. Charlie Kirk was killed because of political violence. It's happening right here in America. The greatest quote-unquote democracy in the world, it's happening right now. But when it happens in Africa, all of a sudden we are tribalists and we hate each other. These people don't even understand what actually caused these problems. But I'm playing this because there's a lot of people in America that have never seen this and they don't understand it. They just heard some talking points on the internet, on TikTok, and they've gone with it for so long, including the same CEO idiot who I tag in this video. I hope he watches it so he can learn from it, right? Because he needs a lot of learning.
Production of ID cards displaying people's ethnicities. In 1959, the Hutus overthrew the Tutsi monarchy. A group of Tutsi exiles formed a rebel group, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, the RPF, which invaded Rwanda in 1990.
Okay, so the tribal component of this was because, one, the Belgians, in order to, it's like putting a proxy, like what the Americans have done right now in Venezuela, right? The Belgians were using the Tutsis to hold on to a colony in absentia, to essentially rule through the Tutsis and be allies with the Tutsis. It marginalized the Hutus. So that forced the Hutus to build militia groups so that they can take power, because power in Africa is resources. The political class rules everything. And those communities decided to fight for something. The same way nowadays, these FBAs are trying to fight us because we've come in, we're doing so well, right? Same concept, but they're calling it tribalism. No, the tribes lived in well amongst each other until these foreigners came in and they picked one side over the other, made one side feel superior to the other, And then it created a conflict that made the minority group think, okay, we need to go in and try to get some of this power, because with power comes resources, and these regions of Africa are very rich in resources.
Fighting continued for 3 years until a peace deal was agreed. When the president's plane crashed, Hutu extremists blamed the RPF and started a campaign of slaughter. And who lived or died was based on their ethnic identity. In just 100 days, about 800,000 people were killed. Civilians and some of those involved in the genocide fled across the border into the Democratic Republic of Congo, then known as Zaire. Others went to neighboring countries such as Tanzania and Burundi.
Okay, so I just played this part to give you a context on what actually happened that these people don't know. But this is now 1994. Okay, this is now 1994. Rwanda, after this happens, they go through a national reconciliation that was fostered by the Rwandese themselves. This is 30-some years ago. We're not talking about people in America that have been using the same excuses for 400 years. This was 30 years ago. You've seen what happened. I showed you the pictures. It was called a genocide because of the number of casualties. Okay? Millions of people died in the stretch of 100 days, really. A lot of people died. Okay? This is what they did. They did a reconciliation. They brought themselves together. Everybody spoke the truth about what they did to the other groups. And they forgave each other. They forgave each other. There is not an example of this reconciliation system anywhere on the planet. The Israelis and the Palestinians can't figure it out all these years. The Rwandese figured it out. These are Africans. This is what an African does. We didn't say colonialism, racism. We didn't blame the Belgians. We knew it was their fault. We could have used what the Belgians did as an excuse not to do shit, which is what a lot of these guys are doing. They are using racism and the 400 years of slavery as an excuse not to do shit. Oftentimes very, very lazy, okay? Can I get $1? I got to make a t-shirt like that. Can I get $1? And you immigrants, when you've come here and you're also black, you're also subject to racism, you're also subject to police brutality, and there's no policeman shooting you. And there is no problem. You don't need affirmative action to go to college. Like, these people were always begging for stuff. Civil Rights Act they were begging for stuff. Immigration Act, it was a consequence of the Civil Rights Act, but that's also not entirely true. We've done videos on this, okay? The first immigration bill was actually signed in the 1920s. Only about 100 Africans would meet that quota, but because of the cost of travel, a lot of Africans didn't even use up that quota. They didn't leave the continent of Africa. Okay? So, no. But back to Rwanda. And I'm saying this because this is the last time I want to hear these idiots use Rwanda as an example, because Rwanda is the one place they can only dream of. They can never become a Rwanda. Because these guys killed each other, slaughtered each other 30 years ago, and they forgave each other. Okay? The 20 years that I've been here, these black people have been slaughtering themselves in every major city of the United States of America. Every one city, there's a black spot, ghetto, where black men and women are slaughtering themselves for no reason. It's not like they're doing it over some minerals or some resources. No, hell no. They're just doing it because it's a rap battle and it's to prove toughness, because daddy left home. So they need to show that they are tough people. They're not fighting for anything. At least these Africans were fighting for political power and control. These guys are fighting because they got nothing to do. They are mostly jobless. They got nothing to do. That's why they are fighting. What are black people fighting in the gangs in the ghetto for? What is the reason they are fighting? Give me a tangible economic or political reason why they are fighting amongst themselves. None. Okay? No reason whatsoever. They're just fighting because it's fun to kill people. That's the only reason why they are fighting. So this was Rwanda 30 years ago. I'll play you a little bit of this video just to give you in context what the Rwandese have done that Black America could only dream of, despite all the resources that white people have put in, despite how rich this country is, despite this being the richest country on the planet. Rwanda has some resources, mostly forest resources and a little bit of cobalt, but they're not mineral rich like my Ghana. They're okay, and it's a very small country, really small. But look at what the Rwandese have done to the same Kigali that was burnt down 30-some years ago. 30-something years ago. I was alive then. I was in school when the genocide started. I was in school in Africa when this genocide happened. These people have been able to turn it around in my lifetime. In my lifetime, the Rwandese have been able to turn it around. And this is no freaking propaganda. You know why? Because I've been there twice. I'll put my photos on the community tab to prove it. I've been to Rwanda twice, and I think I'm going to go back there this year. Absolutely amazing. The audacity. If there's one place Black America should never speak on, it's freaking Rwanda. You guys can never be like a Rwanda. You can never dream of something like a Rwanda. And you can never, despite America's riches, you can never build anything like a Rwanda. You cannot. Prove it to me. You cannot build anything like a Rwanda. For you to even build one street in this country with only your 6% that are participating in the construction industry, you will make 100 excuses along the way. These guys made no excuses. They had a reconciliation. They had a Truth and Unity Council. They sat down on national television and they said, I'm Joe, I killed this person. I killed this family. I killed these children. And I apologize. I killed your mom. I killed your dad. And I apologize. And the other person says, I forgive you. And they really made it. You know why? Because they are now intermarrying. The Hutus are marrying the Tutsis. They are intermarrying and raising children right now. They don't have tribes on their ID cards anymore. This is a country that recognized there was a problem, and they were able to sit down and talk through it, forgive each other, and build a nation together, which you're about to see in this video right now.
Kigali, the capital of one of the fastest growing economies in Africa, Rwanda.
And again, with very limited resources, it's one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. One of the fastest growing economies. I mean, these guys are building robots. They're building robots. Over here, our people are just entertainers. They are jokers, comedians. People are just, they entertain us. Okay? And they're proud of it. They entertain us and they're proud of it. Okay? Like the audacity, man. I understand it if any other groups in America will look at Africans and say certain things about us. I can, yeah, you guys are doing well. It's okay. I'll take it. But really, like the least, see, that's where I feel it's very insulting that these people don't look in the mirror And then they sit down and think that they can say, we should be completely untouchable. Completely untouchable. Because this is us. Those streets you see there, they are built with African hands. Those buildings, those trees that are planted, they are planted with African hands. What have you planted in your communities? What are you building in America? You can barely wake up to go to work. A lot of them can barely wake up to go to work. We live here, we see it. We didn't want to talk about it. It's none of our business. But they want us to enlighten them. So we are going to do that. And I hope they learn from this. They shouldn't see this from a position of hatred. I'm giving them these facts. It's going to be hard to listen. I know. The delivery might be a little bit harsh. But in it is substance that can help them think differently. So that tomorrow, maybe you can set up a cohort to help some kids in your community with homework. You can start being that change because these Rwandese did it. 30 years. I was alive when this shit happened. I was alive. I was in primary 4. I was in school when this stuff happened. I could already read and write. Okay. I was a primary 4 student, 4th grade, as you guys would call it here, when this thing happened. My son is in 3rd grade. So I was a grade higher than my son. And my son can figure out a lot of stuff. So this is very recent. And the Rwandese were able to recognize their problems, reconcile, and go on a 30-year run of nation building, from infrastructure to cleanliness. Kigali is one of the cleanest cities on the planet. And guess what? It is safer than any American's major city. Any one of them. Compared to the ghettos, don't even talk about it. Not even close. Because at least I can go to Kigali and walk around at night and nothing happened to me because I did it twice. I can't go to the south side of town. I can't even drive there during the day. It's like a war zone. And you have the audacity to sit on the internet and talk about Africans. Like you're killing it out here. No, you're not. You're the bottom for a reason. And I'm about to show it to you. We're about to do the state of the ghetto address so that you know what these guys have been up to in 2025. Not a whole lot. Pathetic. Absolute pathetic.
In this video, we explore Kigali, Rwanda, also known as the land of 1,000 hills. But if you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone for them to get to know more about the African continent.
This is all true. I took a boda around. I have pictures, man. I took a boda on these same streets heading into downtown Kigali. This is what they've built in 30 years, man. Africans did this. The same Hutus and Tutsis that you're talking about in your stupid video, they did this. Okay? They planted these trees. These palm trees are not native. These are Cuban palms. They are not native to Africa. They went out there and they got these seeds and they planted all these trees that you're seeing. Every morning in Kigali, you find a group of African men and women cleaning the streets, sweeping it up and cleaning it up every morning. The traffic lights work. And they're not using the almighty resources of white America to do this. This country doesn't even have a whole lot of natural resources. They have some. They don't have as much as the Congolese do. These people built this in less than 30 years, man. Kigali has been, I went there in 2019 and it was still like this. It was already built. And now there was talk about, the Rwandese were talking about extending Kigali into all the other cities, like building the other cities just like Kigali. So these Africans are forward thinking. They're talking about integrating their economies with Burundi and the Great Lakes and Zambia and all these other countries in the region so that they can get some economic integration amongst themselves. Young Rwandese people have taken on science, technology, engineering, and math and thinking about the next thing, like artificial intelligence. What are you people doing? Smoking weed, talking a whole bunch of shit on the internet. Despite all the riches that America has, you're still failing to break through. Every group, every subgroup and group is starting to leapfrog your community. Every one of them. I looked it up. I'm going to give you all the numbers. Every single group that have landed in America over the last 30 years have collectively leapfrogged your community. Every one of them. It is abysmal. And their numbers are going up, yours is still going down. It's going down so much that there might not even be a floor, like completely to the bottom. And you can sit on the internet and do all your do your music and all your bullshit. This is what these guys have built. This is what they've built. I saw it myself twice. Like I said, I went there twice. I've seen it myself. The same Africans the Ant CEO is talking about, this is what they've built. They are not saying, hey, yeah, we built America with nothing to show for it, with 6% of your population in construction. How could you possibly build America? The only time you did something is when they forced you to do it through slavery, because you're forced to do it. But when you've been liberated and set free, you're not doing shit. These guys are putting, very soon, Rwanda will put themselves in middle income status. That's their next level. They're doing it one step at a time between 3 tribes that were killing each other 30 years ago. And all over and all across the African continent, of course, some are lagging behind, but a lot of them are learning and a lot of them are contributing. And the people you see here in the West, a lot of them are doing knowledge and technological transfer. We're sending knowledge back. We're sending money back. We're building businesses at home for the next generation of Africans. But let me tell you, whether people can migrate to the U.S. or they don't migrate to the U.S., your community is just not going to get any better. Not the way you're going, and I'll show you why. So you saw Kigali. I'm going to close some tabs so that we don't get confused here. You know? This is what these people have built, man.
Itself into one of the most beautiful, peaceful, and organized places in Africa. From the moment you arrive, there are...
They even have an airline called Rwanda, which I've flown a couple times. You can fly Rwanda from Kigali to London. They have a national airline that runs from Kigali to London, and I think there's one that goes to Frankfurt, Main in Germany, and a few other cities. The Ethiopians have an airline, a world-class airline with multiple destinations globally. The Senegalese have an airline. They're doing it. It's slow. I wish it can be faster, but they are all moving in the right direction. Are you moving in the right direction as a community in America? No, you're not. You're regressing. And to cover up for it, you pick your targets as the Africans because you thought that they're supposed to be lower than you. No, they're not. They're not. You may think they are, they're not. You know? Yes, I don't like to play passport bro, but here's a passport bro. If you don't believe, you think this is propaganda, here's
What's
one of
good, YouTube? It's your boy Lord coming back to you with another one. And what if I told you this?
This is one of your own FBAs. This is a passport bro. This is a passport bro in Rwanda a few weeks ago. So this is not propaganda, man.
This is not only one of the cleanest cities in Africa, but one of the cleanest cities in the world.
You heard him? One of the cleanest cities in the world. This is your own FBA guy in Africa. Not too long ago. He's a passport bro. I don't watch this type of content, but he's shown it to you. I know Checking Effect's been there too. Okay?
The city, the world. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Kigali, Rwanda. Let's get it.
I just need my space right now. No plans, no plans.
Yeah, your NBA players went out there and played a game in Kigali. This is what they've built, man, after that war. And this was a video of a Kenyan girl that took a bus from Kenya all the way to Kigali.
About 1,200 kilometers by road. The one you see here is by flight. Kenyans do not require any visa to enter Rwanda for the first 60 days. All you need to enter Rwanda is a passport and a yellow fever card.
With her here for 24 hours. Overall, maybe I can give them like... So, the documents you need to travel, the documents you need here at the immigration is a yellow fever card and a passport. As a Kenyan, you can also enter using the temporary passport, which you get at the immigration office in Kenya, in Nairobi. So yeah, this is our bus.
Looks like we had some technical difficulties. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. It looks like we're back on. Something is there. Okay, let me enter my chat real quick. Okay, looks like we are back on. Sorry about that. OBS is acting up sometimes, but it looks like we're back on. Let's see here. Yeah, looks like we're back on, man. Guys, let's get the likes up. Get the likes up, please. Let's see. We did this guy right here. So this is what we're doing before we lost connection. But this is a Kenyan girl that went from Kenya, almost a 24-hour road trip from Kenya through Uganda to Kigali. You know, the bus had air conditioning, Wi-Fi. They are doing their best. They're trying. These are done. This is not like some white man that gave it down to them or passed sometime, gave them affirmative action or gave them some, you know. And please check out her channel. Her name is Sue, S-U. If you want to support her, she does a lot of road trips across Africa. So yeah, check her out, man. Let's see. How come okay, there you go.
Turned it off or it's not working.
There are forest bureaus at the terminals where you can change money. This is Kampala in Uganda. You know, just beautiful countryside when they are driving, the hustle and bustle of Kampala. Kampala definitely not one of my favorite cities, but, you know, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful continent. Does it have issues? Absolutely. But we're getting there, right? We're not making any excuses. We're getting there. This is just... Oh, looks like we're back again. Something is happening with OBS. that is very unstable. I might have to, if it happens again, I'll have to run it in safe mode. But anyway, you get the gist. We're gonna get to. All right, let's get going.
I'm going to go to the south side of Chicago, pretty much the worst place you could be in perhaps America when it comes to danger and crime and poverty. And we're gonna go and drive around for a while and see what we can find and show everybody what it's like here. Chicago, a city with super wealthy and safe suburbs, really awesome fun, but dangerous downtown, and of course, some of the worst neighborhoods in the whole country. Everyone's heard of the infamous south side of Chicago, where you have shootings and murders and poverty and ghetto and crime. It really is a terrible place in many areas, and certainly somewhere you wouldn't want to go, much less move to. Southside has many really bad areas. If I'm going to go there, it's going to be the worst of all areas, right? So I ventured into places like Harvey, Inglewood, Fuller Park, Chicago Heights, and Ford Heights to show you what they look like and talk about why they are the way they are and discuss solutions and talk about how really bad these places are, right? This was going to be my one and only time here, and actually, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was during the day. I didn't feel in danger. It was kind of empty. Nobody really paid much attention to me. It wasn't really that run down.
Yeah, look at the grass, so unkept, weeds everywhere. These CEO, these guys, you could just take a lawnmower and go over here and start cutting some grass instead of wasting your time on the internet. Go help out your community, right? The same way you tell us to go fix our countries, even though we are, even in absentia, we're sending money back, we're building businesses, you know. We're helping people. I have employees in Zambia. I have people that I employ. So I would expect that they will, you know, do something like this. Go out there, cut the grass, sweep it up, make it look good. Teach some kids some common sense. No, they're not.
But of course, after hours, this place is a circus. We'll begin in Harvey. Now, if you're familiar with Chicago, the area I went here in Harvey is around 153rd Street and Broadway generally, and just kind of meander around through the heart of the worst part of Harvey. The South Side is known for murders and shootings and gangs. They don't measure shootings by year or by month in places like this. They're measured by the weekend. Last year in Chicago, there were almost 800 murders, and in Cook County, there were like 875 people who were killed by gunfire. It's not getting any better either. Last year in Chicago was the worst year ever for murders and gunfire. Shootings here were up by 50% last year, just like they are in many other inner cities in this country. There were 3,700 shootings in Chicago last year, which is more than 10 a day, and those are the ones that are reported. Of course, there's many more shootings and much more gunfire than the ones that are called into the cops. People are getting carjacked here all the time. And a lot of this madness is happening here on the south side of town. In fact, it was down here in Harvey where the first person in the Chicago area was killed this year, just 12 minutes after midnight on New Year's morning. In Harvey, they shoot at the cops. They'd probably shoot at me too if they felt like it. I mean, I'm just driving around here. Every 4 days, a cop gets shot at that they know of. Average residents have a 1 in 84 chance of being the victim of a murder, a shooting, an assault, or a rape. This is the deadliest place you can live in suburban Chicago, where murders happen every other week, and somebody gets shot at every...
I went to school in Illinois. People don't know that. I picked this, but Sagad, I see you, man. I'm subscribed to Nick too. Not on this one, on my other channel. I'm subscribed to him. I went to school in Illinois. Chicago was my first city that I moved to when I came to America. So I was an Illinois resident for quite some time. And I still go back to Illinois. Actually, I went to pick up my mom. My mom came from Chicago yesterday because my brother lives out there. Picked up my mom yesterday. So Chicago is a very familiar place to me. It's not gotten any better. Not gotten any better. So this is what I'm saying. Like I'm not rejoicing their losses, but I'm not optimistic that they can fix it. I'm not optimistic that they can fix it, because if they were going to really be able to fix it, the prerequisites that is required, like the Rwandese example that we just played, these people don't have that. They've never had that. They were only taught excuses. When you're taught excuses, there's no motivation to effect that change. That's the difference. They're taught excuses. Every other community is looking, including the Africans, even the poorest Asians, every group is looking at the next step and trying to get better. These guys were given freedoms, resources to participate in this U.S. economy. And for years before the immigrants arrived, they made excuses that they were not progressing because of the color of their skin. Then all these brown and black skinned people came from the Caribbean and Africa and proved that narrative wrong. So then now all of a sudden we are their enemies because we didn't come here and live in places like this and stayed poor. You know, if we came here, we stayed poor and we lived in places like this, then it's going to make sense. You know, then they'll be like, oh, yeah, you know, you guys are just like us, your bottom, no issues. Yeah. It's because we killed that narrative of those excuses that they've made. And some of their people also killed the narrative, because not every black people, you know, there's 10% of them that don't live like this. There's 10% of them that have understood the game and are moving towards something more serious and not, you know, doing the stereotypical bullshit. But to try to ignore all these things, this is just one city of America. It gets worse as you go. You know, every city in America where they are congregated is chaos. And this is compared to the Africans that don't have anything that they're building. They have natural resources, but a lot of that has to be tapped with science, technology that they don't have. That this is why they started sending some of us abroad on scholarships to learn so that we can help with these problems, right? And most people go back, you know, after a few years of being in academia and teaching at the university, paying into the American system that gave you something, people wrap it up and say, hey, now let me go spend the next 20 years in my home country and give back. And this is 80% of our politicians have come from the US and the UK. They go back and they give back. But these shallow minds don't understand that. Do you ever go back to the hood? No, they don't. As soon as they get money, they all leave the hood. This is why look, this guy has been driving for a few blocks now. None of the grass is cut. All over the damn place. None of the grass is cut. You can't even see any people because of how dangerous it is out there. You got to be inside.
Every night. Now, sometimes there's going to be spikes in shootings when new gangs move into town, but the Chicago Police Department says that's not what's happening. They're just...
Oh, yeah. You know, we got black businesses. Look at those businesses, bro. You think they're selling anything over there? Salute to you, KF. You think these guys are selling anything of value in these stores? They are no humans because it's so dangerous out there in Harvey. They are no humans, man. Where are the humans?
Unrelated and random, but apparently it's a loss of cops that's played a big part in the spike of crime here in the south side of Chicago. They laid off a bunch of cops.
Look at that building's got no roof. Over here talking about some damn Africans. Get the fuck out of here, bro. We live here, we see it, bro. We live here and we see it. This is 2020. When did Nick go over there? Let's see. 4 years ago. Okay? 4 years ago. What is this? 2026? So 2022, he went out there. Post-COVID. These buildings have no roof on it. The board is off. The shingles are off. It looks like the building is even collapsing. It looks like it's leaning the other way. Grass unkept. Brushes and bushes everywhere. This is how these blacks are living in Chicago, in one of the most prosperous cities in America. In 2022, this is how they were living. Talking about, oh, you Africans, they can't get the fuck out of here, bro. What are you talking about? You live in all the resources that white America has put into these communities. Look how they're living. Look at this shit. Talking about Hutus and the Tutsis. If your culture is fine, how come the Hutus and the Tutsis? Well, the Hutus and the Tutsis built Rwanda. And it's so clean and beautiful right now. And all it took was 30 years. Actually, they built this stuff like 15 years ago. Kigali was already up there. Well, the Maya did a big video about it. One of the videos that got his channel to the top was his video in Rwanda. So it's been like this. They got this like in the mid-2000s. They had already started reconstructing and rebuilding. And they did it with Rwandese labor, Rwandese hands. Part of their reconciliation program, some of them go in and help other communities, like they have programs where they go and help each other. Salute to you, Chaotic. You know, they go over there and they help each other. You know, the people that were killing each other are now helping each other. They're getting married and they've built Kigali. And other African nations are watching Rwanda and say, hey, we can do it. Heck, they even have an airline. And it's so beautiful when you fly Rwanda. Beautiful. Fly Rwanda from Kigali to London. Beautiful flight with authentic, beautiful African food. They have power. They have a country. They are in control. Over here, you're a minority. We gave you an olive branch, which was Pan-Africanism, so that we can welcome you into the bigger black diaspora. And you came there, you're trying to do big boy with your bullshit. Look at the state of your community. This was in 2022 on the south side, and I know it's not gotten any better. I know for a fact because I went to school in Chicago, in Illinois. Okay? Let's keep watching. Buildings boarded up, no shopping or no stores. Walmart can't even go into these communities to serve them shit. This is America, the #1 economy on the planet. And all these places are earmarked for government resources. So the US government, our taxes, including immigrant taxes, go into these communities. But whenever they give you leadership to take care of these taxes, you eat up the money, you are corrupt, you spend that shit, and then you point fingers at each other, you're all bullshit at the national level. And then at your individual levels, you can't even stay married. You can't build families. This is why I said I have no hope. I go to Colombia and I see the Afro-Colombians and I'm very hopeful because I know what they're capable of. I come over here and I see these guys, I'm not hopeful, bro. They can't make any change. Black America is going to be forever like this. Mark it on the wall. I bet anything on it. I'll bet anything on it. Put up an open bet somewhere that in the next 10 years, Black America's statistics are going to improve 10%. Now lie, it will never happen. The only way it happens is if they confuse the statistics and add immigrant blacks to their numbers. This is why I said that delineation would have helped us, because that's the only reason why those numbers have corrected 2 or 3% up. But their pull down is so enormous that even our 2-3% up usually sits there for about a year and it comes right back down to where it was. Because we can't even give it that much support with all the success that we've brought to America. We can't give it that much support. Because there's a lot more of them below average. That even if you push it to average, they're always going to push that number down. These people don't know how to build anything, man. I was saying it, when I said it then, they thought it was a lie. And okay, now I'm giving you real, footages and videos. And this is a very intellectual conversation. Nobody's pointing fingers at anything. I'm just giving them a reminder of how far back they are. And this has got nothing to do with racism and all these isms that they come up with. And they know this. These guys are they're already defeated. They know this was a problem. They knew they didn't have the solutions. This is why they gave them that script to always use racism and all these things as excuses not to do shit. They threw in the towel about 30, 40 years ago. From the crack epidemic, okay? The crack epidemic and then the crack babies followed. That's when they threw in the towel. Their Gen Z is starting to correct a little bit in the suburbs, the ones that have made it out to the suburbs. But that number is so small. And a lot of the times, when you look at those kids, their last names, they're Nigerians. And then you're like, oh my God. Then you lose hope. You look at their last names, they're Nigerians, Liberians. They're like, oh my God. You know, this is why they are celebrating one man that won a marathon. These guys are celebrating one guy who beat one Kenyan in a marathon. Go and look at the world records. Does anybody run marathons and long distance more than Kenyans and Ethiopians? No, absolutely not. If you put it on the scales of percentages between these two countries, they've won long distance races 99.9% of the time. And anytime Americans have won, like Atin Mo, they are South Sudanese. Or they've come from Ethiopia. And you're celebrating one guy because he beat a Kenyan. It's okay. The Kenyan came second. That's just fine. You got one on them. That's it. That is because you don't have anything left. That still goes into the same category of sports and entertainment. But outside of those two, you are not exceptional. And the reason a lot of people go into those two is, frankly, it's easy because you have time on your hands. Okay, the best entertainers are people that got time on their hands. When we were busy going to school and doing our homework, they're in a corner somewhere making rap music. And when you do it at a such younger age, that's the only thing. All your energy is in one area, so you're going to do well. But if you notice something, a lot of them don't even know how to manage their money. So they end up getting, like whites and other groups to manage their money for them because they haven't built an overall, all-rounded talent, except for the one thing that they spend most of their lives on. This is why they dominate in entertainment. And the other reason that they dominate in sports is because physically, they are more physical compared to the other groups. The people of African descent are usually physically more, resistant to and have muscles that can run these races and do these difficult sports. So it's the gift of nature. It's not something they've acquired. It's a gift of nature. The other one, the entertainment part of it, is situational. It doesn't require a lot of hard work. That's why when they come out of sports, they become obese. In a week or two, they get fat. Serena Williams is an example. She's on Ozempic, okay? Triggered by a cotton ball at a 5-star hotel. Excuses. This is who they are, bro. This is who they are. Look at their streets.
Because of a budget shortfall and because they held a lot of money back during negotiations. So they didn't have a lot of money, so they had to lay cops off. And a bunch of other cops retired too. You can't blame them. So
yeah, look at that building. All the concrete is falling off the side of the building. That building right there where it says bakery, that's the business they are running in Black America. Look at their businesses. This is their businesses, man. This is what they are running in Black America, bro.
Yet again, we have proof that defunding the police has huge negative repercussions. And all those Chicago cops that quit, I mean, can you really blame them?
Look at all that, bro. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, why wouldn't they quit when you're always being shot when you go to work? Would you work there as a cop yourself? Hell no. Of course they have to quit. It's not a bad. This is what I'm saying. These are what I call black excuses. They're gonna blame, say things like, what do you call it? These are budget issues. And, these are all like, oh, I don't like this coloring. I got to figure something out with these colors. But anyway, all these are all black budget issues and government issues and racism and all the excuses. No, it's because it's dangerous. You can't do business in a place like that. It's dangerous, man. You can't do business in a place like that.
Even the Chicago Tribune acknowledged less cops on the south side of Chicago is a bad idea. Of course, having less cops on the streets makes it look like the criminals can do whatever they want.
And I tell you what, look, if you look at the architecture of these buildings, because I lived in Illinois, and anybody that has lived in the Midwest can attest to this, right? All these buildings were built by white people. Okay, this is really typical standard North American, but Northern European building architecture. This is one of those things where they've built it out because these are very old buildings, right? They've built it out. They move into other neighborhoods, and then these areas become poorer, and then the blacks move in. And then they kind of move around it. Sometimes there are government programs or welfare systems, or they make some of those places welfare eligible for housing discounts or whatever. And then that brings more and more of them in, and then they take over these neighborhoods and they become heavily black cities. Then they take control over it and they don't add on to it. Even if they earmark budgets to these places, they don't add on to it. And it gets cheaper and it gets cheaper because the conditions get bad, right? If the conditions are bad, then more people don't want to pay for horrible spots. So it gets cheaper. It gets cheaper. When White's building maybe was a $2,000 a month rent, when they start to leave and the blacks move in, the prices start to drop because nobody wants to live in a place like that but them. Then it goes lower and lower. And then once the crime comes in and it gets dangerous, the prices come down to where it's like $300 or abandoned and nobody wants to live there because who wants to get shot at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? And this is what these places become. Then eventually, because they don't, like I said, there's only 6% of them that are in construction anyway, you find that they don't renovate anything. They don't have the money to get contractors to renovate. They live with what was given to them. This is why they look at the sidewalks. Heck, they can't even trim a tree. That tree and the power line is almost coming together. Didn't get pruned and didn't get straightened out so that it grows upward like here in the suburbs. You see, they actually train the trees so they grow a certain way. I guess this white folks been out of Southside Chicago probably for like 60 years already. So when this oak plant was growing, they didn't train it to come right. Look at the trimming that is done right here on the left, on that little tree. That's horrible. Look at the sidewalks. All the concrete is out. Okay? So these people don't maintain anything. This is your typical playbook of a we was. We don't, they take credit for little things, get excited about little things. But when we talk about real complex issues that build communities and build societies, these people don't have the training and the clue to do it. The only shot is to come back and learn from the Africans. That's the only way they can do it. We are the only ones that can teach them how to do this stuff. Because we've been doing it, even without corruption and without problems. The colonialists didn't leave much of infrastructure. I mean, look at a picture of Accra in 1955 and look at a picture of Accra in 2024. Completely different cities. Everything that has been built in Accra has been built by Ghanaians. Jamestown and the neighborhoods that were heavily British, they are pretty much one of our poorest neighborhoods now. They are not occupied by our richest class. So we built most of these African cities ourselves. We have the built talent. So for you guys that are in the diaspora, when you've built your homes at home, who is your labor? Isn't it other Africans that are building your homes? Even me in my village in Zambia, The guys that built these homes are Zambians. Like literally brickwork, roofing, everything done by Zambians. So they can only come back and learn these things from us. With their egos, no egos, don't give a damn. But that's just the truth. They don't know how to do this stuff, man. They're not built for this stuff.
It also means when you're not paying cops enough and you're laying them off, the officers are going to have a low morale and they're not going to want to go out and work hard for a city that they don't think has their back. So even more cops quit. One city leader said that he thought the criminals looked at the layoffs and they were like, we can do whatever we want. I mean, if you think you're going to get caught, you won't commit a crime. And if you think that you're going to...
Look at these houses over there, man. This is how these black people are living in America. Potholes. Over here talking about Africa. Get the fuck out of here, man. Are you kidding me? I mean, I knew it was bad because I don't go to these places, but really? Can't even clean around a fire hydrant? Like, just get a lawnmower, man. And CEO. Take some of that YouTube money. What's the other what's this guy's name? The guy that does this in his video. Take some of that money and go to your community. Get a lawnmower, get a few YNs and FBAs, the Tariq Nasheeds. Instead of giving that money to hidden colors, use that money to get a lawnmower, go to the south side of Chicago and get on a community program and start mowing your lawns and cleaning up your sidewalks. If you can't do this shit, then you didn't build America, because building America takes a whole lot. You can't even cut grass and you built America. You can fix potholes. You're just patching it up with some bucket that you bought from Home Depot in your neighborhoods. You can patch it up. Look at the potholes. Look at how they patch these potholes. They just bought bitumen at Home Depot and poured it right up there, which I think the city probably did. They are not trimming their trees. All the homes over there are boarded up. Look at these homes. That house needs shingles for their roof. It hasn't had shingles probably for 30 or 40 years by just looking at it. You can't even maintain what the white man gave you. Over here talking about we built America. Well, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about, man? Why has this become a debate? Why has this become a debate, man? You guys need to get serious. You really have to get serious, man. You really have to get serious. There's a lot of work to be done. And what I think is you're going to need a coalition to turn things around. You got to come to us, your daddies, okay, from the Black Factory. You got to come to us so that we start at the family level. We start teaching you the importance of family. You use family in all your FBA videos. What's our family? What's our family? No, you're not a family. Families don't live like this. Shooting up each other, not cutting the grass. You don't eat together. At least Africans, you mock our food. We eat with our hands, but we eat together. We sit around each other, we eat together. You think it's disgusting, but it's not. It's family building. We are around our kids. You guys hear my kids play in the background. We are raising them every day and giving them the game, teaching them how to do things so that they become very useful citizens and maybe, do things the right way, and they're going to pass it down to their children. You guys need to come to us so that you get this thing figured out. We are the only ones that can help you. Okay, so take your egos out, come to the Africans, and start at the base level. Let's start teaching you guys how to build families and how to raise children. We need to give you parenting skills. Okay, and that leads me to the State of the Union. I'll show you here. I'll show you some. I pick up some stuff that was very, very shocking to me. Let me see if I can find it. Get you the State of the Union. We'll get through next video a little bit, then I'll play you the State of the Union. Let you know that even now, the Latinos are doing better. Like every group has surpassed your community. Every group.
Get caught, it'll make you think twice about what you're going to do that night. They've even tried to change laws here so you can't sell alcohol after midnight to try to slow down all the violence. While the clubs...
The FBI can't even change the smoke detector. Hey, you ain't lying, man. I see them do TikTok videos and beep, beep, beep.
Didn't like that because they're losing money. Too bad, club owners. You're where a lot of the violence starts. So cut off the booze at midnight.
None of these things you are seeing here was built by a black man. Not even one thing. Not the car, not the road, not the electricity infrastructure, nothing. In Africa, at least, we built all our stuff. We built all our stuff with our own hands, with some resources, by selling some natural resources, but we built, the work is done by us. We built a lot of these things. If it's very serious infrastructure project, maybe some top tier level bridge, sometimes we get donations that the Japanese or the Chinese would donate a bridge and then they'll bring their own engineers to build it, or the Germans will. But those are very minimal. It's not, I would say 90% of our infrastructure is built by us. It's our civil engineers. It's our architects. Our guys are building all the apartments and the houses. It's built by us. Right here, looking at the hood, none of this is built by them.
Do whatever you have to do. They need to do something here.
This is America, fellas. This is the world's #1 economy. Look at how some of their people are living. This is sad, man.
So now we're going to go to another really bad part of the South Side
not
of Chicago.
Inglewood. That's our west side. It's kind of like west side. Oh, it's our west side. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, not there.
Inglewood. Now, Harvey's a city, but Inglewood's actually a neighborhood. Now, the population here in Inglewood has gone down a lot. This neighborhood used to have 100,000 people in 1960, and now there's only about 30,000 people here, and you can understand why. I mean...
Yeah, they are fleeing. They make it dangerous and they flee.
There's as much violence here in Inglewood as anywhere else in Chicago. Many people call Inglewood...
You see what a black man spends his money on? Look, go back. You see? Right here.
I mean, there's as much violence here in Inglewood as anywhere else in Chicago.
They're spinning. Look at this shitty car, right? Like a Buick or a Chevy, some shitty $300 car. Look at the wheels and the rims that this guy has put on. You know? But then they won't clean their streets. Look at all the trash around the house. But he had money to put. This is what their priorities are, Brian.
Chicago. Many people call Inglewood the murder capital of Chicago. Now, when you drive around Inglewood, it seems like every 10 minutes you hear a siren from a cop car or an ambulance. This is the type of place where 12-year-old kids run around at 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, just without their parents around, just doing whatever they want.
Yeah, because there are no parents. There are no parents. Let me give you these things, and then we're gonna test out the. We're gonna test out to see if our thing is back on. If our panel stuff works, okay. So I compiled some data from the CDC, FBI, the Bureau of BJS, and Pew Research. Okay. And let's see. I'm going to see if we can share the screen. Let's see if we can play it. Okay. No. Do I need to do a screen share or what is this? Okay. Let's go this way. Let me Let me see if it'll let me share it. If not, I'll just read it to you. Okay. 55% of black children will experience father absence by 18. So by the time they're 18 years old, their men are out of the house. And then 67% of black children are born to unmarried mothers. You can build a community like this. These are the recent stats. Like these are 2025 data. You know, 49% black children growing up in fatherless homes. These boys that are on the internet talking a whole bunch of crap, they're deadbeat dads. They all are. A bunch of them are. They're not raising their children. They're over here talking about, oh, we built this shit, we developed, we are the culture, we built this shit. Yeah. The very basic, they project all the big things they built, but they struggle to do the very basic things that almost every community in the world has figured out. For some reason, it's so hard for them to do. I don't understand it. Like 55%, more than half of their children grew up without a father. So if we're talking to 10 guys, 5 of them will not have grown up with their dads. Okay? Since 1960, their marital rate has dropped from 72% to 41%. You know why that happened? Because the Africa part of them left them. That's what they need to reclaim. I mean, I think the welfare state has something to do with this, but if they held on to their Africanness, a lot of this wouldn't have been a problem. I'm going to give my daughters all over here. Almost 20% of black people are living below the poverty line in America. And this is the lowest of every group in the US. The lowest of every group. A quarter of their children are also living in poverty. And remember, these poverty guidelines are set pretty low. So when you go on these websites, like TikTok debates, they take their incomes of the US and they project that, you guys make $300 a month. $300 a month in most of sub-Saharan Africa is not considered poor because of the standard of living. You can't even pay a light bill in America with $300. Those guys can pay rent. They can pay rent and pay for food and all kinds of stuff with $300. So if you do it based on what they can get for $300, you are living much poorer than them because you can't buy anything here with $300, whereas over there, you can buy a whole lot of stuff with $300. Yeah, they are living better. Despite being 13% of the population, or 14%, depending on the metric you're looking at, 50% murder arrest, according to the FBI, are black. 50%. Half of all murder arrests in America are black people. Over here talking about tribalism. They're just one group, a minority group in a country with so many resources and so rich. And you're killing each other for no reason. At least the Africans were killing themselves for resources and for power and control and politics. You guys are killing yourselves just for fun. So that is the state of the ghetto address. Let me see, before I wrap this up, let me go ahead and see if I can get you guys to test. See if we can test the connectivity. Test the connectivity. You know, I saw one of the stats that was very shocking. How Hispanics used to be there, had the highest child poverty rate in America. And now they've brought that number down from 25% to 17%. And they left the blacks at 25%. Which is the blacks didn't make any improvement. The Hispanics just fixed their issues. They started working through it. And now they're leaving these guys behind. You're going to be stuck at the bottom alone. It's what is happening. Sitting here talking about some black and brown coalition. They don't care about you. Nobody cares about this community, bro. Who's going to care when you don't even care about your own community? Say, oh, yeah, we know we suck. So let's get these Africans. Because, you know, at least they're from Africa. So, yeah, we can use their statistics to win a debate, even though ours is full of shit. Anyway, we're going to test the connection for about 5 minutes. I'm going to put the chat up. We're going to make this brief, please, because tomorrow I have work and I have to get kids ready for school. So if you come on, please make it brief. It'll help me. How do I get this to you guys now? Let's see. Chat. Docs. YouTube control panel. Give me 1 second. Hey, Sarah, what are you doing? Okay, so here's your link. I need this for a test, so if one of you can come on, that would be nice, please. Then we can test the call today, because I think I fixed it. So okay. While I wait, I'm gonna go get the Ghana citizenship story. So Ghana just granted, I don't know if a lot of you remember, but a few weeks ago, there was a lot of Americans in Africa complaining about the citizenship process and how Ghana was not giving them their citizenship. And they made a whole lot of noise about it. They called Ghanaians all kinds of names and they did all kinds of shit that really, frankly, pissed me off. Did a video about it too. Well, Ghana finally, they put a pause on the program They put a pause on the program so that they can streamline the program and make it more efficient. Okay. That was the reason the Ghanaian government gave. And all it took was a month. They've come back, and the people that were waiting for citizenship have been able to gain their citizenship. They gave it to 150 Black Americans and Caribbean people. And only Ghanaians on social media are talking about it. Of course, there are mixed feelings there. It's always, we are not a monolith. But whenever there's good news, these people don't talk about it. When Ghana was not giving them citizenship, the whole world knew about it. But now that they fixed the problem, they issued them their citizenships, you don't hear them going all over the place praising Ghana for finding the problem, fixing the problem, and delivering on their promise. This is what these people do. Even though you've given them something, and I think they really offended us and they need to apologize, whoever made videos about us. The fact that they haven't made videos, I looked everywhere on YouTube, I'm not seeing it. I only seen Ghanaian creators talking about this. These guys are not saying anything. It's like nobody knew. And the president was there in person, and the vice president was there in person. We have a female vice president. And very high level dignitaries were there. When I became a US citizen, you think Barack Obama came to my citizenship ceremony? No, he didn't. They play you a video recording of Barack Obama when you're becoming a US citizen. For those that are getting it now, they'll play a video recording of Trump. But for us, we make a swearing-in ceremony, and our president goes there, gives them their citizenship, and welcomes them to Ghana. This is how much we have to do for these people. How much resources does it take, the security detail, for our president to go there and give a bunch of ungrateful people citizenship, forever complainers, give them citizenship, the cost to the average Ghanaian, the security detail of the president and the vice president and the convoy that goes there can feed a whole bunch of Ghanaian citizens. But we know we do it for Pan-Africanism and we do it for the American black. Unlike the immigration stuff they talk about here, at least here, white America calls the shots. They run the legislature, they run these programs. Over there in Ghana, we are calling the shots. It's our citizenship that we are giving it out to people of African ancestry. We drive that policy, and we make it possible so that they become full Ghanaian citizens and have full access to everything that any Ghanaian has. And compared to us, well, here is pretty much a merit base. Over there, you're getting it just because of ancestry. That's the only reason why you're getting it. So, of course, some Ghanaians don't like that. But I'm okay with it. It's only 150 people. Not a big deal. My only outrage here is, why did they not make videos saying, like, go black to Africa and all these other guys who criticized Ghana? Why are they not making videos telling the world that Ghana came through for them? No, they won't say it because it doesn't get the views. This is why I say all these guys are CIA agents. They don't have Africa's interest at heart. They are historically not good people. And you can see it in this situation where we've given them citizenship and they can't even come out and tell the world after they made long live streams about us. You guys remember it? They make all these live streams about us, calling us all kinds of names. And now that we've delivered a month later, it took 1 month. This exercise only took 1 month. Now that we've delivered in a month, you don't hear them making videos thanking Ghana for making this possible. I'll play you the video. I got it right here. And then we'll wrap it up. So yeah, we give them.
Ghana? Hi, American here.
Black Sea.
Let me tell you, when we landed in that Ghana,
peace
the
and tranquility
that came over my body cannot be explained.
You know,
in
when you're
any dictionary.
gearing up, like when we got to Ghana,
let me tell you, when we landed,
Ghana is a great sort of gateway to Africa.
It is.
It's a great,
That's a good start.
It's a great first country to visit.
Very chill,
very
too.
welcome.
Nigeria?
Yeah. Nigeria.
Nigeria's
a little bit of a shock to the system. It's a little bit of a shock to the system. Ghana is a great sort of gateway.
So yeah, well, you heard it, you seen it. I wish they would come out and make videos, and congratulate the Ghanaian government for coming through and delivering and giving these people their citizenship.
The first time I went to Ghana, I was blown away.
And here are my 3 takeaways. 1, I've been to South Africa. I went to South Africa in 2019, and South Africa was very, you are not African, you are not us, don't be excited, you are very much Black American, you have more privileges than we have, don't come over here thinking that you one of us. And I was very taken aback by that because it was my first time going to Africa, and I was just like, yeah, my people. And they was like, we are not the same. Ghana was totally different. Ghana was very much welcome home. They embraced us. They loved on us. They was like, come back. We can't wait to see you. We can't.
Well, then that is because that is the doctrine of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. A lot of us grew up under the Nkrumahism ideology, where it was what nowadays people call pro-Black, or a deeper connection to the extended Black diaspora. But a lot of us have also seen the other side, and now we're thinking that was not. Kwame Nkrumah had good intentions, but we're dealing with 2 completely different people here. And I guess what the South Africans told us is what it's supposed to be, right? That you're welcome to visit, but you're not one of us. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, they are South Africans, you're Americans. We are Ghanaians, you're Americans. And after all these iterations and generations, of course we're different people. So, but these people want a hug. You know, they want you to hug them and praise them. Nobody's going to praise anybody, man. You live in your country, we live in ours. When I come here, I'm not expecting anybody to praise me and welcome me and hold my hands and give me a hug. I look at the rules and I ask myself, how can I compete? How can I do better for myself? And on that note, we'll wrap it up. I thank you guys for coming in. I didn't get anyone to click the link. KF, if you're here, I would have hoped that you give this link a shot so that I can test it out. But if you're off, then we will do it we'll do the panels on another call sometime during the week. All right. So we're going to cut this, and I wish you guys a great week. Ciao.